Sports Talk with the Talking Heads, Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. Cold front in the building, feels good outside. We back at it again. It's your boy Mike Daniel Jr., supporting Super Sports Media with my guy,
Richard DeLeon with SA Premier.
And okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, we giving shouts out. So it's your boy E Tally. And oh yeah, by the way, I didn't give y'all the good news. The new president, face of Pro Skills down here in San Antonio. And we got a special guest with us the whole day. Go ahead, Big Reg.
Reggie Higgins, arguably the #1 official in San Antonio.
Hey,
George Adams gonna have a fight with you about that one.
I'm sure he
I like
will.
that. I like that.
Hey,
I like the introduction.
I have to agree with that, man. I gotta say, whenever Reggie's reffing our games and stuff, I will say I know those games are gonna be under control, man, and that's much appreciated.
Well, I think, and I know for sure, by far, Reggie is one of the best referees here in the city, and I think everyone will agree with that. Again, that's why I asked him to be part of what we're doing right now. And I thank you again, Reg, for taking time out your day. I apologize for allowing it to take so long. We had this conversation back, early in the summertime?
Yes.
So this was something that's supposed to happen before now. So it was a idea that we both talked about, and now we're putting it in motion. So thank you for coming on board, man. Thank you for coming on board. Go ahead, Mike. You lead the way today.
When you consider this is the perfect timing because it's the start of the high school season.
And that's the part I got a lot of questions about. But go ahead, Mike, you first.
So first thing, E-Tally, make sure you get it right. You are the president of Nike Pro Skills, sir. Not just Pro Skills, Nike Pro Skills. You got to make sure that the brand is named properly, sir. Don't shortchange. I won't let you do that.
This is correct. We do have the check mark behind us, so you are right. Thank you again for that correction. I am the president right now of the Nike Pro Skills San Antonio brand down here in San Antonio. Thank you again, sir.
Well, when you started, congratulations. But when you started making that announcement, I thought you were going to just say you got a job as the new president of Topgolf. You're wearing that hat right there, so.
I got my shirts and my hat. Someone got to match. They don't match all the way, but they got to get close. So it's the closest hat I had to the shirt. And then, I always got to represent the brand. No other way. No other way.
I'm waiting for my golf shirt. That way I could just wear that and not have to worry about Mike Daniels' attacks.
Okay, so this is what I need. I need help. I'm trying to find someone that does embroidery at a really, really great price. And the last place I took it to, I'm not going to say their names, but they were to charge me. They already have my print. They're willing to charge me way, way over what I want to pay. And that was like $25 a embroidery after they have what's it called. So if you can find me someone that's a little bit less, where I'm providing the shirts and to get that price down, I would gladly get our shirts made with no problems. I have the shirts.
I got you covered offline.
Bet. Thank you very much. But go ahead, lead us, Mike. Go. Let's go.
So before we get started into our questions, I want to first, pay homage, and I want to give some notes on why Reggie Higgins is one of the top officials, not just in this city, but in this state. From meeting Reggie as a player, I hated Reggie, right, as an official, because I didn't understand him. It wasn't until later on in life when he was my mentor and took me under his wing when I started my officiating journey and career that I understood the ins and the outs of why he was the way that he was. Now, what makes Reggie and gives Reggie the confidence to say that he's one of the best in the state and the best to ever do it? One, he looks the part. That's the first thing. He looks the part. Two, he's in his rule books, right? He knows his rule books. He knows his verbiage. He's on top of the game, right? Three, he played the game. When you were a player and you come back to officiate, it gives you an advantage over others that they'll just never understand. And then four, he works at his craft. And then for me, one of the most important things that really separates him from everybody else is the way that he's able to guide others that are up and coming. He's not one of those do as I say, not as I do. He's do as I say and watch me do. And for me, one of the biggest pieces on why he's one of the top for officiating, he's doing the same thing when you go watch him. So Big Ticket, my guy, my man 1 million. Appreciate you for taking time to be on with us. And let's get this party started, man. Your day.
Appreciate that.
So first question.
Comment
Since
one
we
thing
since
about that too,
do your thing.
and you didn't give him credit and kudos to when I first met him. He was doing the younger kids, and he did a phenomenal job with that piece because those guys doing that coaching part where we know everything. But he was one of the first referees that I saw actually tell kids right from wrong and didn't mind, and it did not affect the flow of the game. Am I right, Reg? Whereas
Yes,
though
sir.
he made sure guys got out the paint, he made sure he talked those things to whereas though as a coach to watch a referee do those things to me, especially the younger kids, that's so important. And that's one thing I kind of like, man, this guy really know what he's doing. And then the second thing, I saw that he did the highest level. He's over here at the ABA running all that deal, and I was just like, oh wow, this guy is really the guy. So kudos to him for that. And again, thank you again. Go ahead, Mike. I just want to get that in.
So Big Ticket, 2024-2025. High school basketball season is upon us. Girls season opened up today. Boys is next week. This year, what are some of the points of emphasis going into the 2024-2025 high school basketball season? What should coaches be discussing with their teams? What should they be on top of? What are the points of emphasis, Big Ticket?
It really hasn't changed in the last 2 or 3 seasons. Most of it dealing with freedom of movement, trying to make sure the offensive player is free to move. There is no hindrance in where that offensive player wants to go. So therefore, we're looking at the ball handler with the hand checking, making sure rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness is not interrupted with the ball handler. If either of those 4 are interrupted, then it's a foul. So to dumb it down a little bit, if the ball handler is going to the basket and he gets contact, right, and he continues to go to the basket, and it's going to be a play on. It should be a play on, right? Because a ball handler is going where he intends to go. Now, if the ball handler is going to the basket and he gets knocked off of his path to the basket, that's when you have the foul. So when I say rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness, that knockoff is the balance, right? So that's where the foul comes in. In the post play, freedom of movement. If you are displaced, pushed, moved out of your spot illegally, that's a foul. Those are the things that we're looking at. If the defender is trying to get around the post play, right? He's trying to legally get around the post play to front the post, right? And the post then tries to hold him from going around him. That's a foul. Freedom of movement, right? And then the basics, the travels is always a point of emphasis. Bench decorum is a point of emphasis. The way coaches are behaving needs to be addressed. If they're out of control, it needs to be addressed. Now, we're not saying technical. We're saying it needs to be addressed. So we're very focused on the bench decorum. That includes the bench, the players on the bench. We need to make sure that they are behaving or sitting during live play. So all of those things are in play this year. Now, the add-on to all of that is, I know you guys have seen, in your capacities, all of the flopping going around, right? We've done it for about 5 years in college, where we have incorporated a rule for flopping. This year, the high school has adopted the flopping rule. So that's going to be a new one.
They finally did?
Yes. They have adopted the flopping rule. So basically, they have brought it in the way we brought it in into college 4 or 5 years ago, which
The
means
same
that
sign and everything? Wow.
same sign, same sign. So which means that if we have a flop that occurs, a flop is uh, the definition of a flop is the player trying to bait an official to blow his whistle when there is no illegal activity happening. That's the basic definition of a flop. Okay. So the way we're going to do it this year, the way I understand it, is when a flop occurs, all right, we signal the flop, which is, I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's just hands down. It's hands up, hands down, right? It's the opposite of get up. It's the opposite of get up. So it's hands down, right? When you see that, you may not hear a whistle. When you see that signal, a whistle is imminent, right? So once the ball has established, meaning I'm gonna give you an example. Player goes to the basket with no contact. The defender who is trying to take a block charge falls to the floor trying to get that block charge call without contact, right? We give the signal that a flop has occurred. Now, if the shooter makes his layup, the whistle is hit. The ball is dead, the whistle is hit, right? Now we report to the table that it's a flop warning to the team. So that defensive team now has a flop warning in the book. So the next flop that occurs in the game, at any point in the game after that warning, is a technical foul. Okay?
So big ticket. What if that defensive team is on offense where the guard does the dribble and does the head jerk back? Does it count if it's offense? Like, do they get an offensive warning as well, or is it just one warning for all?
One-time warning for that team, a one-time warning. So on the offensive side, for your example, and this is without illegal contact, if he's doing that, right? He's dribbling, does a head fake. First available dead ball, not dead ball, but a non-immediate score opportunity, non-immediate scoring opportunity. We're hitting the whistle and we're assessing a warning or a technical foul, whichever applies, right? So back to the scenario that I was trying to describe. Let's say that the layup, he misses the layup, right, with the flop on the block charge. If he misses the layup, we as officials have to hold that whistle until the ball is not tapped back in, right? Rebound, back up in the hoop, or rebound, kick out. Now the ball is being kicked out. Once that ball is received by the player that he's passing it to, we hit the whistle and kill the play because there's no immediate scoring opportunity, right? And that's when we issue the warning or the technical, whichever applies. Does that make sense?
Yes. So it's almost like saying, hey, and it's like a play on or an advantage. You want to make sure the offensive guy still completes the motion of trying to score, whoever's around trying to put the ball. But once the ball is out of the cylinder or away from the play, stop play. Let's assess the foul or the tech or whatever, the dead ball, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be huge right there. That's going to be huge.
But it's going to be a early on until high school officials understand how to apply the rule and when to put air in the whistle. Until we understand how that is, and we got to do a lot of training on this because we don't want to hear whistles, and now we're taking points off the board.
Correct.
That we don't want to. So that's why I wish that during like the last month of October, that we would have had the opportunity to try to get officials to try and do the flop in a tournament or wherever.
Yeah, to see that rule. Yeah, that way you can implement it.
What I did in Littlefield's league, which we were preparing for the high school, we had like 4 or 5 weeks, 4 or 5 Sundays, where we had all the high schools and the coaches that were in the stands. I think you were there, a few of them, Eric.
Yes.
Where I was trying to bring in the flop whenever it happened. I would do the signal, right? Well, only one time in the 4 or 5 nights that we did it, where I actually stopped playing and did the warning, just so everybody could see and understand how it's going to be implemented. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's going to be for the fans, for the coaches. It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to impact the flow of the game.
Well, you mentioned in your rule the displacement rule, to where
Yes.
though, you know, as a fan, before I start doing this, that was the old. We thought it was a call over the back.
Yes.
Can you explain that just a little bit? Because when I forget what referee broke that down to me, and it made me feel like I was I want to say it was Mike, and he let me know that there's no such rule as over the back. And I'm sitting here, yes it is, yes it is. He said, really? You want to do this with me? Okay, I had to think twice. But again, he said, hey, get in your rule book and find out where that rule is. And of course, I never found where a rule is called over the back. So can you just explain that one a little bit? Because you did mention displays.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things that an official can hear from the stands or from a coach is over the back, right? There is no such thing as over the back. Is who has the position, who has the positioning for the rebound, where that rebound is going, right? Where the rebound is going, and what the player, whoever the player is behind, what that player is doing, right? So what y'all perceive as over the back is nine times out of 10 is nothing. That's like me. I'm 6'6", right? And I got a 5'10" guard in front of me blocking me out, right? The 5'10" guard doesn't jump for the rebound. I jump from behind for the rebound. Who's going to get that rebound? I am, right? I don't have to go through the 5'10" guy. I can just jump straight up, reach over him, and get the rebound legally without contact. And when that occurs 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear, oh, he's over the back. That's a prime example of a no call, okay? Now, if I go through the 5'10" guard to get the ball, making contact, and I'm bending that guard over, right? That's where the foul occurs. And that foul is called a push, and it's not called an over the back. I'm going through the guard in order to get the rebound, right? The other thing that speaking on rebounding, the other thing that most people don't understand is the box out, the perceived box out, right? Now, a box out is a position. It's the position, right? A box out is not movement. When you box out a player, right? And now I'm backing into the player's space that he's already attained, right? That is not a box out. That is displacing another player. Whenever you displace a player, that is never legal to displace a player that has already attained a position on the floor. So a lot of times you see the guy from behind jumping up, right? And that guy that's behind is backing into him like that, right? That is a foul on this player, the player that's in front of him. That's not over the back. He's displacing that player from his original position, right? I don't care if that player is jumping. He's still displacing him, going underneath him. That is a foul. So that's a lot of people need to understand those that what we as officials look at. Now that's not saying a lot of officials don't want to miss that call. They will, but the seasonal official will always make that call that that is a displacement call and it's going to be a foul 9 times out of 10. I hope that answers your question, E.
Yes, it does.
Next time I go to Houston with my team, I'm going to let them know. Reggie said displacing my players is never okay.
Yeah, yeah. and use those words. A trained official, once you say displacement, you're displacing my player, he's going to key on that. The official is going
No,
to
he's
key
not.
on that.
No, he's not. He's gonna give you a warning or a technical foul because you're showing him up. I know firsthand. I know firsthand.
Well, that's your delivery, Mike. He's giving you a warning on your delivery.
Mike, his delivery? Oh, I don't know.
There you go. But use those words. I'm gonna tell you how to approach. Hey, ref, or if you know him by his first name, call him by his first name. Hey, is he not displacing my player in that play? Put it in a question. Ask him, was that not a displacement foul? And just wait for his answer. The way he answers that question is going to tell you everything you need to know about that official's experience. Okay.
Yep. So quick question here. How two-man mechanics is way different than three-man.
Yes.
You know, everyone who knows we all love three-man because again, it's 3 referees, and that's, in my opinion, that's one of the only times I see you guys so in sync. I don't know why. It's because if it's easier for you guys just to be in sync, but man, two-man is so hard to get that sometimes that continuity there as far as both people calling the same calls. But when it's three-man, you guys are in sync. Can you kind of explain the big difference as far as, you know, hey, when we have two-man, here's our points of emphasis versus when we have three-man, you know, the floor is broken down into, you know, however it's broken down. I don't want to start talking like and be wrong. So can you explain that a little bit?
Again, and Mike is going to love this. Mike is going to love this because this is one of Mike's pet peeves. Okay. And
so for the record, folks, I used to be an official with Reggie, so this is yes.
That's what I was about to say. Mike is a very knowledgeable referee. He has my utmost respect. I know he can work, and he knows how I feel about him as a referee. So the big impact on two-man, especially during AAU ball, right, is, and I hate to say this because I'm one of those officials, but that's neither here or there. But the reason why you have that inconsistency and that we're not able to sync up and make it match, you know, from one front court to the other front court, right, from one side to the other side, is that we're not switching. During AAU ball, most of the officials blow the whistle and stay in their same position, right? So let's say we have a guy calling everything on one side, right, to go down the court, and the other guy is not matching those calls. That's because we're staying in the same position, right? That's where the inconsistency comes in. If you are not an official that logs in plays, for instance, I am in the trail position, the top position, and on one side, and I'm in the lead position, which is under the basket, right, on the other side. If I'm not recognizing what my partner is or is not calling on one side of the court, and I'm not matching him when I'm in the same position on the other side, we're not going to be consistent. And what I mean, another thing, what I mean by that is that if my partner calls a touch foul and one, right, on one side, now I go back and be in the same position on the other side and get the same contact. If I don't put air in the whistle, we're not matching. And the same instance goes in if my partner passes on a call on one side and it's an obvious foul, right? And I go down on the other side and I call a touch foul, we're not matching. So now to get to your point, is the difference between two-man and two-person and three-person is we have different areas of responsibility. So in two-person, we have almost half of the court split amongst two people, right? And we have those areas to look at. But we also have to referee, and I know Mike's heard this many a times. We have to referee where our partner cannot, which means sometimes we have to go all the way across the paint because our partner can't see the foul. And that's where you have the late whistle, right? Everybody says, oh, that's late. That's late because it wasn't my call. But the call had to be made for the betterment of the game. So guess who's going to make that call? The guys that's not responsible for the call, right? So that's two-person. Three-person, you got thirds that each official is responsible for. And that official is working only that third, right? That's why the consistency is more in sync, right? And I have my responsibility. If I'm down under the basket, my only responsibility is the paint in three-person. That's the only thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at plays going to the basket, right, from outside the paint going into the basket. Once you get it in the basket, I know it's mine to get. The block charges that happens in the paint is mine to get because I'm under the basket, right? So again, but the referee where your partner cannot also applies in three-person. It always applies. So if I am blocked off from the play and I can't see it because players are in front of me and something happens, and if I can't see it, I'm not blowing it, right? But I trust my partner, my two other partners, to come in, recognize that I can't see it, and that call has to be made. So it's going to be coming from one of the other two officials.
And I like that. And the reason why is because the higher you go level wise, the more referees on the floor, and those things should be understood why certain calls are made. Like I love when I see that referee throw his hand in his face and say like this right here, like, "Hey, I didn't see it,"
Yes.
and then other guys like, "Oh, got it." They pick up the call or pick up what the action is being done, like a jump ball or loose ball, whatever it is. So I love three-man mechanics, but I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that the floor changes as far as the responsibility. Because a lot of people think that guy under the basket, he's in three-man is more worried about the wing, short corner, and things like that. Like you just said, hey, all I got focused on is paint, watching what's going to the basket. So that's why I wanted to kind of ask that question and kind of get that out there a little bit.
I love those explanations because a lot of things I hear from you coaching on one side and you're hearing from the stands on the other side. You hear that all the time. That's a late whistle, and that wasn't your call. That and you explained both of them right now. I hope people watch this because I mean I hear that all the time.
Also, Rich, a lot of times, because speaking on the late whistle, so the official who is trained understands that that we have to let the play. You're going to hear this all the time. You're going to have to let the play start, develop, and finish. Once that play finishes, then the official has to make a decision, either to blow the whistle or not blow the whistle, right? So what we're trying to do is get all the information that we can to make a clearer determination on if we need to blow the whistle or not. So, for instance, if, again, to the ball handler going to the basket, he gets bumped early, right? He gets bumped, but not knocked off his path. He beats that defender, all right? That the play has started. Now it's developing. Once he beats that defender, now the play is developing, right? He's going to the basket. He goes up and he scores. Now he finishes the play. Now we can play on. But let's say the ball handler starts his action into the basket, right? He takes that first step. He picks the ball up, takes that first step for the layup. takes that second step, get bumped. We're not blowing the whistle on that bump yet, right? He gets bumped, he goes up, and and let's say that bump is marginal. It's a marginal contact bump, right? He goes up and he makes the basket. We're playing on, right? In that same instance, he goes up again, start, develop, and finish. He's developing, gets bumped, right? He goes up, and as a basketball player, I know if the ball is going to go in or not, right? So he goes up, and the ball hits the rim and comes off. Guess when that whistle is going to blow? When the ball hits the rim and comes off, because now you've affected the scoring ability of that player, right? So that's when the whistle hits, right? And then you're going, man, that was late. Yes, it was late, but I didn't put an unnecessary foul on a player because it didn't impact the play, or it did impact the play. Now I have to put a necessary foul on the player because it affected the play.
Controversy time.
Yes.
So big ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking on what you just spoke on, what happens when you come across two teams where one player, let's say his name is Mike Daniel, has the ability to take the contact and finish.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's able to take the contact, he's able to play through the contact. It's not affecting his rhythm, speed, or balance.
Yes.
And it's not affecting his finishing. He's not getting the fouls. But then on the other end, somebody that maybe not as capable of playing through, and their rhythm, speed, of same contact, but
Yes.
their rhythm, speed, of balance is being affected and they're not finishing, then they're getting the calls. How do you clean that up?
We clean it up. We clean that up by, that's a very good question, Mike. So remember back, we're going to go back when I said officials have to log plays, right? They got to log plays. They can't just blow the whistle and forget about what they've blown or not blown, right? So officials should be logging plays. So if you have a Mike Daniel that is very strong with the ball and finishes with the ball, and then you got another player on the other side going the other way, and he's getting all the N1s in the world, or he's going to the free throw line a lot, shooting 2 free throws. We have to recognize what is happening. So on occasion, Mike Daniel is going to get some N1s, right? Because now we're trying to be consistent. We're trying to get that consistent. And I said this in the podcast. Consistency is only in the perception of the beholder, right? It's only a perception. So to have that perception of consistency, we have to give Mike Daniels some N1s to balance off of the inability of the other team not able to finish because of their receiving contact. I don't know if that makes sense. So, but that's something that we factor in. We factor in skill level because one of our goals is to make sure everybody has equal opportunity to be unequal, right? So that is something that I stand by. So hopefully I'm explaining it the best way that I can. But yeah, we have to recognize when those type of things are occurring.
So when it comes to education for referees, I see you guys at a lot of GASOs lately. You guys doing these training clinics and camps for referees. How much required training is needed to be a high school referee?
Required. You said required. The only training that is needed is the first 2 or 3 years that you have to go to new official training. After that first 2 or 3 years of training, now it's on the official to get trained. Now, the basketball chapters have tried to implement a requirement that officials attend a camp, an authorized camp, at least twice a year. to be eligible for playoffs for a high school season. That is an effort to try to make officials get trained, to get some type of training, right? Uh, me as coming up, this is my 35th season of basketball. So me as an official, I have invested a lot of time, a lot of money in my craft. And I don't understand why other officials don't do the same. Their motives are different. I understand that. Some referee for money, some referee for power, some referee for power, some referee because they want to be the best referee that they could be. You're going to find the ones that are getting the training, or most likely are in that last grouping of officials that try to be the best type of an official that they can be.
And the reason I asked that question, I know when we started the pod, one of the things Michael always used to say was, "Hey, we need officials. You know, we need people to want to sign up. So be careful how we treat officials because eventually, you know, you treat officials bad, they're going to stop. And then once they stop, then you don't have games anymore. You know, and that was so true. But I just want to for me, you know, a person who used to referee flag football and loved doing it and saw the importance of what you guys do is so important to the game to where though sometimes it gets overlooked. So that's why I just asked that question, let everybody know you do or you should, requirement wise, seek improvement to be a better referee.
Right.
It's getting
so what I want to say, go ahead, Rich.
It's getting harder and harder to ref too. Just, you know, the way the kids are getting bigger, faster, stronger than when we grew up, or when I grew up. I'm a little bit older than Mr. Michael Day over there, but it's getting harder. And then you got a lot of these the new age stuff that I've always wondered. We always talk about there's these discrepancies on that gather step and stuff. It's almost the same as that over the back that we were just talking about. The gather step, the heavy step. You know, you guys got so much to worry about nowadays when it comes to the game of basketball.
See, but Rich, one thing that because of the level that I work, one of the things that we do is we get video clips of plays. That's part of our study, especially at the college level. We get a lot of video of anything that's new that is out there that they have seen in the college game. I don't care what level of college, Division I, the JUCO, they clip it, and they send it to us, and we watch it, right? So, especially when it comes to traveling, because traveling has been a point of emphasis in the college level, because kids are getting better at or even quicker at getting those steps in, especially the step back. So we did a lot of study time on the step back, so that we are not calling travels on just because it looks funny doesn't mean that it's a travel. So the step back looks funny, but most of the time it's not a travel, right? Because kids are being trained how to step back legally. So a lot of officials are getting fooled by that note. So that you make a great point as far as footwork, gathering the ball. When that gather happens, gathering does not dictate steps. Once you've secured the ball, right, now the steps comes into play. So that's a very good point. A lot of times people are calling, especially in the stands, they're calling for travels, and the kid haven't even gathered the ball yet. Right. So that's a great question.
So what I'll say to some points that have been brought up, and I can speak on this as an official, as a director of officials, right? As a coach, as a parent. It's tough out here for a number of reasons, right? You have officials that do take it serious, but then you have coaches and parents that are just never happy. What do I mean, Mike Daniel? I mean, there was a game that I had Reggie Eggins and Jesse Hall on a basketball court at the Sportsplex. Now, mind you, both these guys just came back from the state high school basketball games. And I got coaches telling me these are the worst officials that they've ever seen. And so the other part of it with the official struggle is safety. Nobody wants to go to a game to get yelled at and cursed out because they miss one of the 13 travels that the 9-year-old did. Nobody wants to hear that. You know, I tell parents all the time, parents want to talk about officials. I post training flyers all the time, but yet I never see anybody come out. I never see any of those officials from the stands, you know, come out to be an official. Walk in those shoes. Now, to the flip side of it is there are several officials that do take the game serious, and there are some that, because of the demand and because of the need and because of the quick bucks that they got to get, they're out there for the paper, you know, and sometimes it's tough to see. But for the overall, keep telling parents better leave officials alone, because without officials, everybody thinks it's the gym and it's tournament director. Officials are what makes basketball go. The day officials strike, that's the day basketball goes down, because little Johnny ain't gonna get to play anymore. And that day is coming, because it's getting terrible. Parents losing their minds, damn near breaking their necks, falling out of stands, screaming for fouls that the ref called. And I've witnessed it. Screaming for fouls that the ref has called. Accusing a referee that don't know either team from Adam or Eve of cheating. Like that ref woke up at 7:30 that morning to show up for a 9 o'clock game and said, I'm going to pick on the team wearing red and black. And so to officials, I salute. And because I've been on the officiating side and I understand the craft, I lose a lot of officials. And the funny part about the officials that I let go and get rid of, it's crazy when I see them in other events, knowing the quality of that official. I'd rather have a small tournament with quality teams, quality games, safe environment, and officials that are going to do their job versus having an event where I go to my do not call list.
Well, I think that goes back to what Reggie was telling me earlier in reference to the state of the officials, state of the officials, because everybody's getting older, and certain officials have decided to move on to where though, you know, we're in a place to where though the newer guys just don't have the same level of experience or same behavior or even just demeanors to take care of certain situations.
Well, what it is, Italy, it's not fun. Basketball used to be fun. Officials used to have a love to want to go out and officiate games where they can talk to the kids and help the kids. But nobody wants to show up to games and be accused of cheating, be called terrible and horrible and all the other stuff that goes along with it. The fun has been removed, because do you know what basketball is predicated now on, Italy, Rich?
What's that?
Winning.
Yeah. Instead of developing, it's winning, especially at tournament level.
I've seen coaches, parents blame a referee for a 3-point loss, and I've seen that team in the last minute 37 miss 6 layups and 5 free throws. But it's the ref's fault.
Well, hey, I will be the pot calling the kettle black. You know, I'm making a joke at the same time. I am the coach that blame. Hey, I ride that ref when I'm losing. When I'm winning, oh, we having jokes. Am I right, Reg?
Yes.
See, he told you. Hey, listen, when I'm winning, oh man, Reggie, my best friend. When I'm losing, hey, Reg, you missed a call. Hey, so I'm the pot calling kettle black. I'm not gonna try to sit in inside with you all the way, but you are right what you're saying, though. All jokes aside.
But you know what? Reggie already knows that Italy is going to be like that, and Reggie just, it goes into one ear and out the other. And I know Italy already knows that.
as long as you're advocating for your kid and not attacking the ref, I think that's the
but at the same time, you gotta be careful with that too, Rich. And the reason I say that because we all got to remember, as a coach, my job is to coach the game.
Right.
My job is not to do Reggie's job. If Reggie want to miss a call, hey man, I talk to him after the game. But during the game, my job, I forgot. I forgot who the person who told me that. They said the minute you stop reffing the game and coach your team is the minute we'll get it all right.
I'm sorry. If I watch my player get clothesline, I have a question for Reggie. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, we just talked about displacement. If I see my kid is getting displaced, so to speak, I mean, it's my job to ask the referee to look at that.
Because Reggie said so. Because Reggie said so.
Yeah, again. But understand this: when we miss calls, when officials miss calls, or we have a tough play that we made a decision on, number one, officials should expect a reaction from somebody. One of the coaches is going to react. Okay, we should be expecting that reaction and not be surprised by it. Also, off of that reaction, we should be expecting a question coming or a statement that's going to be coming along with that. We should not be surprised by either one of those, right? So to both of y'all's point, that when I make a decision to put air in the whistle or not to put air in the whistle, and it's controversial, I'm going to be expecting, Rich to ask me a question. And when Rich asks me a question, guess what? I'm going to be ready for an answer, right? What gets officials in trouble is when, number one, they're surprised by the reaction. They're surprised by the question. They don't have an answer for the question. And now they're upset because now they don't have a response, and they penalize a coach for asking the question.
Reggie, I blame you. Reggie, I blame you for the coach that I am, because you made me the official that I was. Yes. And I blame you because officials are going to miss calls. And you want to know something? It's okay. But what drives me crazy as a coach is to watch a player get clotheslined and a referee to turn around and say what words, Reggie? There was no contact.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I'm just making up that my player just got clotheslined and is sitting on the floor with a bloody nose.
But real quick. I think you're talking more AAU versus high school. I'm talking more high school, to where as though that's the level I'm trying to make sure we kind of keep right now. And the reason I say that because that's the whole thing that the parents coming from. See, parents are coming at referees in a man mechanic game to where managed game to where it was like they're questioning the wrong ref. When, at the same time, when that team's on down, that guy might be in the C position versus the lead. So now he's in the C, he's not seeing the same thing. But that parent's still yelling at him about something he missed that they feel that he should have saw in the lead.
That's because they don't. Parents. The novice fan, the average fan, does not understand what official is responsible for what action that is being going on in any part of the court. If the average fan understood, especially in a 3-person game, that what responsibilities the official has in any position, I think that would help in their observation of a game, right?
I think what needs to happen is there needs to be a 10-question rules test that a parent has to take before they can sit at the field houses. And if you can't get a minimum of a 60 or a 70 on that rules test, you gotta either not be allowed into the game, or you gotta stream it from your car.
Listen, that's why I love high school basketball. Because all that referee got to do is look to the side and find a security guard.
Yes.
Point to where that parent is at, and that parent has to leave. So for me, so instead of them getting kicked out the game, I want to bring some attention to things that they need to pay attention to.
Right.
And
So that's why. Go ahead, Red.
That's what I want, Eric. I want people to enjoy the game, and enjoying the game doesn't necessarily mean not getting upset at some of the calls.
Correct.
I wish that everybody had some type, just like Mike has jokingly said, but I wish that fans would have some understanding of what it is that we do, right? So they don't have the perception that, number one, we're cheating or we're just letting stuff go and stuff like that. A lot of times, I'm gonna give you 2 points. during timeouts, not during all timeouts, but during timeouts, when you see the 3-person crew get together and start talking, what do you think they're talking about? They're not just talking about, hey, we're going to have a beer tonight, where we're going to have a beer tonight, or where we're going to eat dinner, or what you're doing after the game. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something that we've missed. We're talking about plays that needs to be have more eyes on, right? If we have a bad player behavior, we're talking about that. We're talking about, hey, this coach is asking this question. We need to make sure we're watching that. We're talking about all of that, right? So when you see a group of even if we're smiling or whatever, we are talking 9 times out of 10, we are trying to get better in that game, right? So just like when you as coaches call your teams over and y'all huddling up, y'all are talking about the game. That's what we are doing as officials. The second point I want to make, and Mike, I don't want you to answer this question. This question is for Eric and Richard. Okay, here's the question. This is for the fans. Okay, but I want you guys to answer it. What do you think which player do you think the official is watching, paying the most attention to? Is he paying the most attention to the defense or the offense? Go.
Man,
I would say the more the defense than offense, because that's
you know, just from my experience, it almost seems like sometimes it's going to be the defense. Yeah, I think the defense gets a little bit more scrutiny, but I may be seeing this all wrong.
Not necessarily scrutiny. Okay, it's not necessarily, we're not scrutinizing the defense, right?
Right.
So both of you guys are right. Now let me ask you this question: the average fan, which one are they watching?
No,
they're watching little Steph Curry shoot 3-pointers from the parking lot. That's what they're.
There you go, and that's where the confusion goes in. That's where the confusion goes in, because remember, we got 3 people on the court, 3 officials on the court. Each official has their own area. Each official is watching and a different defender. And you guys are both right. We watch the defense. The defense will normally tell you everything you need to know in order to make the decision to put air in the whistle or not. Does that make sense? Because they're going to let you know if they're legal, right? They're going to let you know if they're legal. They're going to let you know if they have positioning. So if we as officials are watching the offense and the ball handler get into the defender or going into the defender, we have no idea if that defender is legal or not. But if we're watching the defense setting up for a charge, now he's setting up and waiting, right? And that defender gets clobbered, right? We know that's a player control. So we have all the information we have. Or here's the big part, and this is what makes fans, we get the most reaction out of fans, is that you have a player going up for a layup, right? He leaves the floor, defender moves over. While he's off the floor, defender moves over, and takes all of that contact in the chest, the average fan is going to think that's a what?
Charge.
That's a charge. Guess what? That defender is not legal.
Right.
So it's a block. That's when we get all the reaction. How is that a charge? Because the defender is not legal, and that's what we are watching. That's why I say that the defense is going to tell you everything you need to know about a play. That's why we watch it. Now,
Reg, can I give a note?
Just real quick, on that same instance, we have an awareness of what the offense is doing, but our primary focus is on that defensive player. Go ahead, Mike.
The best of the best officials, folks, can't watch the defense and the offense at the same time. So parents, fans, and coaches that's watching their offensive player and has eyes on nothing but their offensive player doesn't know what the defense did. Just to piggyback on what Reggie spoke on when he asked, what are the fans and the coaches watching the offense? So you don't really know if that defender established legal guard position. Did they start falling before the player took off? The things that folks watching offense aren't going to know.
Yeah.
That's all.
I got something for you, Mike. I got a good project for
me.
Yeah,
yay
for Alamo City Sportsplex. In the spring, before travel ball starts, before tournament ball, you should offer a referee / coaches clinic, because what we're hearing right now on this call is like good information. This is dang good information that a lot of these coaches should be hearing, and I think we should have something like that.
So just so you know, it's coming. I got to give a shout out. I was going to do it later on, but I want to give a shout out to the San Antonio Basketball's Official Association, because this past fall, they brought officials out to get on the court in-game training during our early elementary middle school league and our grassroots basketball league, where they brought brand new 1, 2, and 3rd year officials out and had clinicians out working with them, getting better at their craft. On the coaches side, that is on the docket coming in 2025, Mr. DeLeon.
That's fantastic, because what Reggie's doing right here, this should be relayed to the rest of the coaches, because I believe that a lot of coaches, this is just we're trying to not be controversial, but I believe a lot of coaches that coach these young men don't know the rules of basketball in a lot of cases.
And to your point, Richard, is I've always been open to trying to educate that time of year coaches and fans, and even high school coaches. I wish that I could put a panel together, invite whoever wants to come, and we just have a discussion on basketball. I think that would improve San Antonio basketball so much and make the game so much enjoyable for everybody involved in it.
I agree. And Super Sports Media could cover that and put that out for those that couldn't make it. Those that couldn't make it, you can watch that whole panel discussion, because they need to. I think a lot of people need that education.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so since y'all brought it up, let me go ahead and let the cat out the bag. Spoiler. Good job, Richard DeLeon.
Sorry.
There is a panel that's coming, and it will be once a week, and there will be 5 topics that will be discussed each panel as we continue to grow and be better with the state of basketball, where we're going to have points of emphasis that are going to be discussed as we're working to be better, along with breaking down clips from high school and college basketball seasons. Mark Veer does this with referees that are wanting to get better. We're going to be focusing more so on the coaching side of things to try to help our coaches get better, along with providing rules book and case book situations so coaches truly can understand what an actual ruling on a situation is, not just yelling because it sounds good to be yelling. So there you go.
Fantastic. My bad for
You're good. You're good.
Well,
Now,
for me, that's just something I wanted to do. I talked to Reggie way early in the summer, towards though, for this platform, that's why I asked him, I enlisted him to help just get the information out because again, everybody's not going to always want to get in the same room all the time. But you know what people can do? They can watch a quick little snippet. And
Yeah.
so that's why I want to do it this way, and the way we're trying to do it, just introduce it a little bit. Just because, again, I know how I was when I first started. I was not a fan, and I know a lot of referees wasn't a fan of me. And to me, I thought I was doing a good job. But when I found out, Mike kind of broke it down to me. Carl also was like, "Yo, man, you were a pain in the butt. You need to change it." And I was like, "Really?" Like, yeah, you complain about everything, you whine, da 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 da. So I had to change how I looked at myself as far as coaching wise, and then I believe this forum definitely help a young coach out versus get out there and always complain about calls when he think he got all the calls right by saying, "Hey, that was over the back, ref."
And
Because
just
I was
to
one of those refs. I mean, coaches.
go back to the high school, uh, and some of this has to deal with the summer program. Uh, but one of the reasons why we show up early at high school games is so that we as a crew can have a pregame, right? So that's for us to get ready for whatever ball game that we have in front of us, right? So some of the things, just to give you an inside look, some of the things that we're discussing during the pregame is coaches, right? If we have a certain personality of a coach uh, that the officials have to be aware of, we're going to discuss that during the pregame to make sure we're all on the same page as far as how we're going to communicate and handle situations with the coach, right? Uh, if it's a rivalry between two teams, we're discussing that. We're discussing, hey man, this is. I'm gonna use this as an example. This is McCullum and Harlandale, right? This is these two teams might have bad records, right? But I guarantee you this game is going to be intense because it's a rival. It's an inside rival, right? We're discussing all of that. We're discussing styles of play. If we have guard play, and the guard play is the focus of a certain team, that's their engine. We're going to say, hey, this this is going to be a guard type of game, guarding, ball handling. We need to make sure we're good on ball handling, right? We need to make sure we protect that ball handler, make sure he has the freedom of movement that he's deserving, right? The hands or whatever we're going to be watching. If it's a team that has post play, we're going to talk about that displacement, right? We're going to emphasize, hey guys, we got to be good on displacement tonight because we're going to have a whole lot of post play, right? We're discussing all of that. The other thing I'll say as far as coaches' behavior, and this kind of bleeds into the summer league, right? One of the things that I pregame, and I encourage all of the officials that I mentor to pregame, is how do we uh, utilize the tools in our toolbox to uh, effectively uh, handle conflict resolution, right? So one of the things that we do is we have warnings, right? So what I try to pregame is that here's how we're going to handle the coach. If the coach needs to have a course correction, we're going to verbally tell that coach, hey coach, I hear you, but we have to work, right? And we don't need any yelling from the sideline, right? That is what we call an unofficial warning, right? So once we have that unofficial warning, if that coach continues that type of behavior, right, and now we have to address the coach again, so he gets a second warning. One of them is unofficial. The second warning is going to be an official warning. That's when you hear us hit the whistle, and then we put the official warning in the book. Now, once we have an official warning, we don't go backwards. Once that official warning is in the book, we continue to move forward, right? So if that coach continues that same type of behavior or worse, the next step is a technical foul. And that's the same instances that we need to bring into the summer league to give those coaches opportunities to have their say, right? But to also be told that, hey, enough is enough. We're not going there, right? So we call that the tree or the ladder. We're moving up the ladder. And once we move up the ladder, we don't go down the ladder. So I just wanted to make, for those that are watching or whatever, I wanted to make sure that they understood that. So they understand once they get the official warning, and don't be surprised if you do that same type of behavior that a technical is coming. Now there are some type of behaviors, profanity, gestures, what have you, that will automatically be a technical. No warning, no nothing. It's just, and most coaches with basketball IQ understand what type of behavior that is. So I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. A lot of good information.
Mike, you got anything? Okay. Well, look. All right. Well,
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute. I'm in the drive line picking up the kids.
Go ahead.
Big ticket situations where, just to give folks the idea and understand that not all situations are going to be cookies and cream and homemade vanilla, right? Situations where you have a partner within a crew, we're talking 3-person now, since we're talking high school basketball, that is not having the same vision as 2 of the crew members. As the crew chief that you are, big game that you're in, how do you handle and overcome that obstacle within your own crew? Because I know, folks look up, oh, why this, why that, why that, why this. How do you handle that situation where 1 out of the 3 is not on the same sheet of music?
What we as experienced officials do, number one, is we do not, when we're discussing or trying to correct or trying to get an official on the same page, is we don't alienate that official. That's one thing that we do not do, is we don't alienate their official. So when I'm discussing with the crew, when we're in our huddle during timeouts or what have you, what I am discussing with the crew and trying to get that official to get on the same page is I use the word we. I do not use the word you. I use the word we. So how does that sound? It says, hey guys, we gotta get better on post play if that's the issue. Hey, we got to make sure that defender is not displacing that post play. We got to get better, have whistles. The post play is getting rough, so we have don't be afraid to blow the whistle on post plays. Or if it's the coaches or the bench decorum, hey guys, we got to be aware of what where the coaches at, or we got to be aware that those players are in the first half are standing up and they're interrupting the other team's offense. We have to have an awareness, have those players sit down, right? So if we alienate a particular official, and hey man, I need you to remember I said you. I need you to do better on post play. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I don't want to lose that official in the crew because I'm going to need him or her. So that's the way that I try to come across in a crew trying to make correction. Is I always say, hey man, we need to do better. And 9 times out of 10, that the official that is struggling or is not on the same page already knows who we're talking about. But the way you deliver is very crucial in making sure that the 3-person crew remains a 3-person crew and doesn't become a 2-person crew. Also, if after we have that discussion and that official just continues to struggle, right, with whatever play that we're having problems with, we're not going to allow that game to be compromised because the official is struggling. So I do this to my other partner, right? And what that means when I'm doing that is that means that he and I need to stretch our coverage and help whatever official that is struggling. We need to help them out in this area. So don't be afraid to come outside of your area of responsibility and go and get something that needs to be got, right? So, and what that also does is if you blow, now he recognizes, hey, that's the type of play that we're talking about. So now hopefully he catches on and is now able to blow that same call whenever it happens again. So those are the type of things that there's a whole lot of nuances that the average coach or fan don't even understand that we're doing during the game to make sure that game is covered and make sure that the game doesn't, we don't just sit back and let the game go bad just because we're struggling right now.
And now, and Reggie, when you do that, right? When you're doing this within a game, what does that do for the crew and the coaches of that game? I don't want to speak on this. I want you to speak on this. What will that do during that game for those coaches and your crew, Reg?
I need you to go a little bit further with that question.
Coaches become aware that there's a member of a crew that's struggling. They see the two veterans or just the two stronger officials that aren't necessarily struggling, stepping up, extending. What does that do for the game?
Number one, that coach is going to have a little bit more calmness because he knows the game is going to be is going to be taken care of. He's going to stop yelling at whatever official he's yelling at, and he's just going to hopefully sit back, understand the game is going to be taken care of, understand that that the plays that he or she is needing to be officiated will be officiated, irregardless of where it's happening at on the court. So it kind of brings a calmness to the coaches. Also, if we and this is not ego, and I don't want this to come off across as ego, but and I'm kind of humble, but there's a lot of times when I have a newer official that is coming into my crew, and they're just nervous as hell, simply because they're working with me. And what I try to do with that official is I try to calm them down. I try to let that official know, hey, man, you belong. I need you. Don't worry. Just work your game. Don't be anything that you're not. Just be you. And I promise you, you will get through this game. And that's why that's what I try to come across to a newer official that is joining my crew. And
Really?
I will absolutely protect. I will absolutely protect that official. So if a coach is yelling at him, guess what? That coach and I have a relationship, and I'm going to go over to that coach and let that coach know, hey, coach, I need that guy in this game. You yelling at him is not going to help him get any better. So please, if you want to have to yell at anybody, yell at me, so I can keep this guy calm and work the game, because we both need this guy in the game.
Hold on, man.
Is that shocking to you?
Hell yeah, that's shocking to me, because I remember a game in Shriner, you just standing there with your arms folded and a big old smile, letting me get my feet wet and just looking at the young fella.
That's you. That's you. I wanted you to get all that experience.
But something I wanted to touch back when I was asking that question in regards to what does it do for the game, it builds trust with those coaches.
Yeah.
Because those coaches, when they see that and they see that you're working, the real ones, and a lot of the ones that we've had on this podcast, they understand it, they get it, they know it, to the point that you can literally mess up and look over and tell a coach, that's on me. I owe you. That's on me. And if you know what that coach is gonna do, okay, Mike, don't have too many more, but okay. And then they'll move on. But it builds trust with the coaches. And I've learned that with these coaches that aren't going anywhere, they're pretty tenured seasoned vets. When you that trust established, man, it makes the nights of refereeing so much better and so much smoother, you know?
And I've you can only use this. You can only use that once or twice in the game. And I've
Facts.
used it. I used it, and I I keep it real, right? So if a coach is looking at me like, what the hell just happened? If I missed it, I'll tell the coach, hey, coach, I missed that, uh, or I'll tell the coach, hey, I didn't see the entire play, and I can't put air in the whistle that I don't have all the information on. I am going to give the coach the realest answer I can give him or her, and it's up to them to accept it or not. Whatever their response is after I tell them that is whatever their response is, right? As long as it's not egregious, I'm not going to react to it because something happened in that play that got him to react. So, and I'm going to let them know honestly that, hey, I missed it. I just missed it.
You want to know something though? The thing about the officiating and the coaching side of it, when you own it, a coach 9.5 out of 10 times is going to accept it when you own it. It's when you make it like nothing happened or that coach is
100%.
delusional and wrong.
100%.
Marcus Alvarado, man, I gained a new love for this guy. Great ball player that I've known from before, but gained a new love. You remember that Brandeis McCullum game at Northside Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
Player kicked out. I completely missed it, standing right on top of it, and our center didn't really know what happened, but came across and called that. You remember that one, that big play?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
caused, and I ran. He was about to light Johnny Serenell up, and I ran over. Coach, that's not his fault. I missed that call. Take it out on me. Like, take. And you know what he said? He said, "What do you mean, Mike? Coach, I missed the offensive foul. I should have air on my whistle. That's not. He just saw contact and knew it had to be something. Don't be mad at him for
Yeah.
right. And that's the thing for me with our officials. Just take ownership and accountability. It will get you out of so much trouble.
The officials believe that if they say I missed it or took anything to that effect, they think that it's going to be negatively received. And like you said, 9 times out of 10, the coach, I don't care if it's summer league or high school, the coach is going to be like, I appreciate that. Most coaches are going to be like, I appreciate that. As long as I said, if you go into the coach and saying 8 times during the game that I missed it, then don't think you're gonna get a positive reaction from that. But if you're honest and say, hey coach, I missed that, I'll do better. That's all the coach wants. That's all the coach wants. You know.
Rich or ET, before I give my final question, you guys got anything else with big ticket?
Yeah, just the last one. For me, it's a real simple one. Reffing the game of boys and the girls. Which part of the game is easier or better for a new official to actually ref? A new official. That's the key.
A new official ref in a girls or a boys game?
Yes, which one is better for them to get started? Is it the girls or is it the boys? Like for Eric Talley, brand new Eric Talley wants to referee now. I'm tired of coaching. I'm done. I'm tired of I want to wear the stripes. Let's go. Where should I start at?
I don't know how to say this without sounding like it's a bad thing, but it really isn't. I'm going to, and you know me, I'm going to keep it real. The boys' game for a new official is going to be easier because you have less stuff going on. It's going to be easier. The girls' game is a hard game to call, and it's basically, and the reason why I say that is because you're going to have more stuff going on. You're going to have plays going up and down the court. You're going to have plays that you're going to have to make decisions on. You're going to have to make more decisions in the girls' game than you are going to have to make in the boys' game. And when I say decisions, I mean, I mean whether to put air in the whistle or not. To the held ball, to simplify to the smallest thing, a held ball, which is the jump ball, a loose ball, any loose ball action in a girls' game, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You can have a fight break out just because a loose ball happened and everybody's on the floor trying to get that loose ball, right? So you're going to have to make a lot of decisions, right? Am I going to call the held ball? Am I going to call a foul because you got players jumping on top of each other? Uh, is the ball being possessed and who's calling the timeout? There's a lot of things going on during the loose ball that you got to officiate, and the girls game to me is a lot tougher to call. It's a lot tougher to officiate. The expectations are different, you know, to try and get that consistency perception. The expectations are different. And to keep it really real, I struggle. 34, 35 years in, I struggle during the girls' game.
That's why I busted out laughing when you asked me that question.
Yeah, girls' game is hard for me, and I work semi-pro. It's just hard because the reason why it's hard is because of the expectations from the coaches and the fans are they want whistles. They want whistles on plays that don't deserve whistles, right? And I'm more truer to basketball than I am to a girls' game or versus a boys' game. I am always going to be true to basketball. So if we're playing basketball, I don't care if it's girls or boys, I'm going to make the same type of decisions based on contact and results of play. And that's just me. And most of the times on the girls' side, they don't want that. They want that whistle. And I can't do that whistle if a whistle isn't warranted.
Good deal. Good deal. Tally, I hope that answers your question. Let's get into some final thoughts. Coach DeLeon repping SA Premier. What you got for big ticket and final thoughts today, Coach?
Well, first of all, I'm going to just echo that because when I was an administrator at the school, public school, it was easier to break up boys' fights than it was girls' fights too. The girls don't stop. So that's number one. But number two, my final thoughts is this. Since we're talking about referees, and there's been a lot of media coverage lately about the shortage of referees, just it sounds like nationwide. I'll give you a quick story. When I was 18 years old, me and a buddy of mine decided to sign up at the YMCA to referee volleyball and basketball and all that. My buddy's now an athletic director over at London High School down there by Corpus. But what got me out of refereeing or officiating or however we want to call it is when we were refereeing the little volleyball games for the little girls, we were told, like, the little ones that can't get it over the net, let them step inside the line and serve the ball over. That way they can get the feel of putting it in play. When I realized that refereeing wasn't for me was when parents attacked me, verbally outside of the venue for allowing these little girls to step inside the service line to be able to get the ball over the net at the YMCA. That's when I decided, man, I don't know if I want to even pursue that. So my final thought is, hey, even at the YMCA level, the CYO level, the I-9, wherever you're at, the beginning stages of the kids' journey in basketball, football, whatever, we need to start making sure that these 18-year-old kids that are getting their feet wet into that profession, they're not turned off. That way now the pipeline doesn't dry up, because right now that's what they're seeing at that level. So my thing is, hey, we got to keep them going, and we can only do that as a community. As not only elder statesmen like we are now in the city. I'm now about to turn 50 next year, and we got to protect these young generation of kids. That way, they still have the passion to officiate going forward, because the Reggies of the world, they're not going to be there forever. We're going to need that new group, and we got to make sure that they want to continue to do it, and we do that by protecting them at all costs. And also, hey, after my 2026s are done, Reggie, I might want to get into that training pool, so I might look you up for that. Mike Daniel, I'll be a good ref, Mike.
I got you, brother.
Tally, what you got?
Well, one, I want to say thank you, Reggie, for coming on and all the education and the knowledge and the things you pass, not just to us, but to coaches, the parents, to everyone, to let them know, like, again, this pertinent information is really important, especially as we go into high school basketball. Like you said already, the girls started, I believe, this week, and the boys start next week. Very super excited. And my final thoughts, again, as high school basketball starts, just remember, cheer for your child, cheer for your team, and always make sure, as a fan in the stands, you show good sportsmanship, because it starts with you. It doesn't start with the kids on the floor. It starts at home. That's my final thought for this week. Thank you.
Amen.
Before I give my final thought, Big Ticket, first off, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. You've always played a big part of my world, getting me started, guiding me, being a mentor, and then just being a hell of a life friend and brother. So I appreciate you. So I'm going to do a real quick series of questions for you for our rapid fire. But before I do that, Tally has a special segment that he likes to do. Give us a fun fact about you that don't nobody else know. Reg? Okay.
That I am a singer, a wannabe singer. if anybody want to catch one of my concerts, and Richard, I see you laughing, but if anybody want to catch one of my concerts, just come on out to Horizons on Tuesdays, and you will catch me singing 2 or 3 songs. And if you like Barry White, I got you. If you like Kim, I got you. If you like Al Green, I got you. But no, that's a fun fact. I'm a my my wife can hook me up with karaoke, and I think I'm hooked.
I want to hear you sing "Me and Mrs. Jones" when I go to watch you.
I got you. I can do that.
All right, rapid fire time, Reg. All right, this coming weekend, NFL. First off, congratulations to the Cowboys. I know they got a guaranteed win. I know you fans are looking forward to that victory this Sunday. So kudos to y'all for that one. Y'all have a bye.
You got me. Okay.
We got twins in a row coming up.
So who you got, Reg? Minnesota Vikings or the Detroit Lions this week?
They're playing against each other?
Yes, sir.
Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. Pizza or calzone?
Pizza.
Cheeseburger or chili cheese dog?
Chili cheese dog.
Philadelphia Eagles or the New York Giants this Sunday?
Philly.
Okay. Kobe or LeBron?
Kobe or LeBron? There you go. Why you gonna do that? I like Kobe. I like the Mamba, man. I like the Mamba. It's not, just real quick. It's not. LeBron would kill. I think LeBron would kill Kobe, but that mentality is something totally different with Kobe.
Give us your basketball GOAT of all time.
Michael Jordan.
Big Ticket.
Yes,
My
sir.
man, my guy. I appreciate you being on. Looking forward to what we're going to do coming from this after this.
Mhm.
Just thank you for being here as we continue to try to spread knowledge, give knowledge, and educate folks in the basketball community. Thank you for being here with Super Sports Media and the Hoops Talking Heads. Folks out there, like my man Richard DeLeon says, it don't take nothing to click that button to like and subscribe and share. My final thoughts, parents, referees are going to miss calls. Referees' judgment are going to be different from yours. But referees have nothing to do with the layups that your child misses. Referees have free throws that your child. Referees have nothing to do with the shot selections and the turnovers that your child makes. We're all human. Like Tally said in his final thought, enjoy your child, enjoy your team, and have good sportsmanship. With that being said, Super Sports Media signing off. We appreciate you guys and have a blessed rest of the week, folks.
Can I say
Yeah.
one more thing?
Absolutely.
To your point, just real quick, and this is to the parents, the fans, the coaches, and this is a question. If you're sitting at a game with your team and they are making 80% of their shots and making about 10% of mistakes, if that 10% mistakes, 80% making shots, that's the percentage, field goal percentage. Would you accept that? Would you accept those percentages for your team? Because that's what the average official strives for. The average official strives to be in that 80% percentile of making the correct decisions on the court, right? And most officials will attain that 80%. Some strive for 90, right? We're never going to be perfect. We're never going to be absolute. But I guarantee you, our percentage will always be higher than the team percentage, your team percentage. So just take that into consideration. And that's what I'm going to leave you with right there.
Rich DeLeon, you know we can't get out of here without you taking us home, brother.
Well, I'm going to say this, and let's practice this, especially toward referees this basketball season. Be kind to one another. It doesn't cost you a dime. Super Sports Media, we out, right, Mike?
We out.
We out.
Right. We out.
Thanks again, guys.